We all know that Hell Let Loose is a team focused game, but as an individual, we want to have a good game. We want to have a good KD ratio. I know a lot of people say KD ratio doesn't matter, but you still want to have a good game where you get loads of kills and really contribute to the attack or defense or whatever it is you're doing. So this video is going to be about improving your own personal game. I will have a video about improving your team play coming out soon, so subscribe if you want to check that out. But let's get started with some movement. Now, Hell Let Loose is not a highly mobile game. It's not something like Call of Duty, Apex, or Blood Hunt. You do move slower. You've got to be a bit more deliberate in the movements you make because in this game, the weapons can kill you in one hit from 200 meters away. You need to get out of that mindset of just constantly sprinting around every corner and just running like a headless chicken. You need to move up to a bit of cover or concealment, look for the enemy, check left, check right, check in front of you, and then move to the next bit of cover. Keeping that mindset of move, check, move. Not just sprinting away until you see someone. Keep an eye out for the enemy at all times because there probably will be someone off to your side just waiting for someone to get out of cover. Be more aware and keep checking. One thing I like to do when I'm moving through like an openish field towards the enemy is I try to put one of these like random bushes in front of where I'm moving to. So that means if I can't see the enemy, they can't see me. And what I'll do is when I actually get up to this bush, I'll either peek around the sides of it or get inside the bush and look forward for those enemy positions, call them out, take some shots instead of just blindly running through an open field. And most of the time you won't be going through an open field, but sometimes you just got to, or sometimes you get caught out and you just need to make that decision of using that bush just to hide your movements. It works for me a hell of a lot. If you watch my streams on this channel, you will see me just running forward and I'll just strafe to the left or to the right to make sure a bush is in front of me as I'm moving forward through an open field, through like blocking a gap where the enemy could be. Now when it comes to vaulting, a lot of people will just constantly keep pressing their vault key when they want to jump over something, but what works better is pressing and holding vault. This will mean that when you're mid jump and you want to grab a fence to vault over or even a wall to vault over, it will actually work. Instead of getting your timing incorrect by constantly tapping jump, just holding your jump button or on your controller, it'll work, so do that. Also, one thing I like to do when I'm sprinting in Hell Let Loose is what I call pre-leaning. And this is just simply when I know I'm sprinting up to a corner where I want to lean out to the right, I will press my E key, which is to lean right while I'm sprinting. And then as soon as I stop sprinting, I'm already leaning. It's just something that reduces that time you need to take when you stop sprinting to then press lean. It's like a miniature time saver, but in some situations it can help just to give you that little edge. And when I'm moving in Hell Let Loose, like I said earlier, you need to be aware pretty much at all times. I am constantly scanning for enemies. I'm thinking of getting one of those eye tracking webcams and streaming with that so you guys can see what my eyes are doing at all times. But when I'm moving forward, I'll put a freeze frame up here. I am constantly looking really at these sort of highlighted areas or what I call the edges of cover as I'm moving down a road or through a field. I'm constantly looking at those edges of hedges, along the tops of walls, the gaps in the walls, windows, edges of buildings, constantly looking at all times, not just focused on what's in front of me, constantly looking around, and that's what you need to do. And that will help you spot enemies just a little bit quicker. If you can focus on those certain areas, you will spot people. You will spot these few pixels that are in the wrong place, where it will be an enemy's head just peeking over a wall, a face leaning out from somewhere. You will notice it. Also, one thing that really helps to spot people is what I call T-Rex mode. And why is it called T-Rex mode?
Keep absolutely still. This vision's based on movement.
Because when you're stationary, usually when you're maybe defending an area or you've moved up to a point of cover and you're looking for the enemy, little bits of movement will just stand out to you. An enemy moving along a wall, going past a hedge, that will stick out to you because they're moving and because you're looking at essentially a stationary screen, but there'll be some trees in that moving. That one extra bit of movement will stand out to you, and that will help a lot. if you're having a lot of trouble spotting people, I would recommend playing defense, because you can really just choose an area to defend from, focused maybe on a certain direction like north or east. That will help you spot people moving. Once you then can spot people pretty easily, then when you're running forward to an objective and constantly looking around side to side and scanning all these edges of cover, you will just notice people easier, and then you'll be getting more kills and won't be dying as much. Next we have the rule of 2. This isn't just because of like a Star Wars reference, but it kind of is. But in Hell Let Loose and generally other tactical shooters, what I call the rule of 2 is pretty much there's always at least another guy. So that one random guy you just killed who was up against a hedgerow running across a field, just because you saw one guy and killed him, don't lower your guard. Keep aware, because on the other side of that hedge or just behind that guy in the field, there's probably someone else or an entire squad. And this kind of links back to the original movement sort of tips of being aware all the time. And yeah, just because you killed that one guy, there's probably another one. Even if there isn't, just think that there is and just keep aware. On this channel, I've made quite a lot of guides specifically for weapons and how many shots it takes to kill someone at a certain range, where to aim to get headshots at range, and how to hit moving targets. But generally for weapon damage, rifles such as bolt actions or self-loading, so your Kar 98 or M1, they're a one-shot kill up to 200 meters, 2 shots afterwards. SMGs are 2 shots up to 75 meters, 3 shots after. Automatic rifles, STG, BAR, 1 shot up to 100 meters, 2 shots after. Machine guns, I think, are 2 shots at nearly any range. But pretty much understand how many shots it's going to take to kill that target. Because what I'll do when I'm using something like the M1 and I'm aiming and I'll shoot at someone, if I'm 100% confident that I will hit them, as soon as I've shot, I'll be moving to aim at the next target. And I do that a lot for pretty much any weapon I use, because I know how many shots it should take to kill that person at that range. So just understand how many shots it will take using your weapon, because just that split second of knowing that your shot will kill and moving to aim at the next guy could mean that you kill that guy before he kills you. This will help to really increase your combat effectiveness. If you watch my streams on this channel, you will see me using the map constantly. Even if I'm not a squad leader, I am constantly looking at the map. And I'm doing this just to try and get information. I'm looking for hot OPs or garrisons, because that could be an indicator of enemy movements. Like they could have dropped an airhead somewhere and now a bunch of them are moving up around the flanks or around behind us. I'm looking for my squad leaders markers. I know you can press T and do it, but open up the map, let you see all of them. And as a squad leader, you can see every squad leader's markers. So it gives you this better picture just instantly. You will see me in the streams telling my squad leader if I see a hot OP or garrison. And you should too. The squad leader has a hell of a lot going on inside his head. He has his entire squad talking to him, all the other squad leaders and the commander. Things do get missed, so just give your squad leader a hand and just give him that extra bit of information. As the squad leader as well, you can see all the other squad's markers, but if you put your mouse over them, it has a little timer on them. Each marker lasts for 5 minutes, and if there's only like a minute or 2 left on another squad leader's marker that you put down for like infantry or a vehicle, that information could then be out of date. So you could just ask that squad leader, is there still infantry there? Is there still a vehicle or a tank there? If not, then you could probably ignore that marker or get that squad leader to update where the tank or where the infantry now are. So have any of you guys heard the term slicing the pie or cutting the pie, something like that? It's a tactic that's sort of taught a lot, I think, and it's something that I've been using, but I haven't known I've been using it. It's just something like how I play. Essentially what it is when you're coming up to a corner, you don't want to be, just quickly going around it. You want to at least take your time to, move out a little bit, just check in, essentially. Just take your time and move around. Don't, spin round, because there could be people you miss. Just take your time and move around. Remember, Hell Let Loose is, a 90-minute game, so you don't need to rush. And just taking your time, especially iron sighting up, will, help you out. Another thing that you could do in Hell Let Loose is just to make sure you don't re-peek the same angle. So let's say I've spotted this guy, I've taken some shots and I've missed. Obviously you're gonna duck down into cover, but what you don't want to do is just peek back up at the same point. What you want to do is change where you're peeking, because it is just gonna throw off that initial guy that's taking shots at you. Just changing up your angle will help so much. I do it a lot, and it does really help in combat. What I also like to do is essentially pre-aim. So if I was the guy in cover, I would already be aiming at where my enemy was. So when I change where I'm peeking from, I can pretty much already be aiming at least where his last spot was. Yes, that guy could move, but just getting your iron sights up before you stand up to shoot, again, it's like a tiny time saver that will help you in combat. Sound is incredibly important in Hell Let Loose. Usually in what I call more close quarters shooters, something like Counter-Strike or Valorant, footsteps and stuff like that are just incredibly important to know where people are moving from. But in Hell Let Loose, footsteps again give away the position of your enemy just so well. Get yourself a decent headset, because that will generally make the game sound better, and it'll be easier to pick up on footsteps. The amount of times I've heard a footstep just on the other side of a hedge coming up behind me or just somewhere near me that isn't a friendly unit, it's just saved me so many times and led to so many kills. So again, like other tips in this video, just stay aware. I also find that learning the weapon sounds greatly helps as well, because if you're hearing a gunfire off to your left that sounds different to your own, like each weapon sounds different, that's going to give away the enemy position. So again, try to remember what each weapon sounds like. Now lastly, I can't believe I really have to say this in a game like Hell Let Loose, but I still see it all the time. But Hell Let Loose, it is a team-based shooter, so just stick with your squad and work with your squad. I see too many lone wolves all the time. Even when I've been playing in a squad where I get people in randomly from the server, I will be focused on defending a location or moving around on a flank, and I can just see some random guys I've had in their squad just off in the middle of nowhere doing whatever they want away from the squad. Don't be that guy. Stick with your squad, because that again will improve your individual game, because you will have these extra eyes looking for the enemy, watching your back, you'll be watching their back. You'll be more effective as a unit and more effective as an individual. So just bloody stick with your squad. Seriously. And when you're communicating with that squad, keep everything short and sweet. I did say earlier that the squad leader has just so much more comms going into his head. And if you're trying to get something to your squad leader to say where you've spotted some people, don't say something like, oh, I think there's some enemy over there by the bush and all this stuff, and maybe, I don't know. Just say something like infantry 300 by the bush, even just infantry 300 or tank 250. Something as simple as that. That's telling you there's enemy and where. You don't really need to elaborate that more. You can say what actual piece of cover the infantry are by, like a fence, wall, bush, rock, but keep it short and sweet. I did say at the beginning of this video I will have a team focused video coming out soon, so if you want to watch that, subscribe to the channel because it will be coming soon. And if you did like this video, if you think it's going to help you out, or if it did help you out, please give it a like, subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.